the Miami Heat. Nikola Jokic, your MVP. He finishes with a game-high 28 points, 16 rebounds. Not a great shooting night, though, for either team. Denver, just 18% from three, while the Heat shot only 34% overall. We've got NBA champion Eddie House rolling with us again this morning. And, Eddie, we need some context here. You think Denver won it, or did Miami lose it?
Well, I think Denver won it. Denver went and took it. You got to give all the credit to Denver for everything that they've done, how they play together, how they, defensively. I thought they did a great job after game 2. Coach Mike Malone called those guys out, and they responded. The energy that they started that game with last night, it was kind of frenetic. It was speed type of game, and it was on both ends. They did it on both ends of the floor, and you got to give credit to the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., that whole team, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, everybody out there, salute to them because they went out there and took it. It was not an easy battle last night. Almost some 90s basketball going on as far as the scoring, but it was a great game, and congratulations to the new champs, the Denver Nuggets.
Go ahead. I see you chomping at the bit to get at Eddie. Go ahead.
Eddie House. I've been doing this a long time. I told Shannon, I have a hangover from watching this game, and I don't drink. This was the single ugliest finals basketball game I have ever had to swallow, and I had to swallow it whole because it was 48 excruciating minutes. Denver tried and tried and tried again to say, here, take it back home. We'll go back down there and we'll kick your ass down in Miami like we do every time, where they've lost 4 in a row. Mm-hmm. I think they wanted a trip to South Beach. I think they wanted to go celebrate on South Beach. I don't know.
They might have been going there without Jokic because he wanted to get to Serbia.
I got it. But, Eddie, I'm looking at these numbers. Joker last night, he was very good, but he had only 4 assists with 4 turnovers. Jamal he hit a couple of big shots, but he was 6 of 15 with 6 turnovers. Aaron Gordon went from 27 points the previous game to 1 of 6 and 0 for 2. Michael Porter Jr., 1 of 6 from 3. Bruce Brown, who did have the biggest bucket of the night on a putback late in the game that just tore the hearts out of the Miami Heat and their fans, he was 0 for 5 from 3. Denver, in a home closeout game, shot 5 of 28 from 3 and lived to tell about it. That is 18%. Denver, in a home closeout game, missed 10 free throws. 10! It's hard to fathom you could miss 10 at home and live to tell about it because playoff Jimmy went way off Jimmy, playoff Jimmy, then back to way off Jimmy. Jimmy Butler was 2 of 13 going into that last couple of minutes, and he just salvoed them. He almost willed it home. He scores 13 points in about 2.5 minutes late in the game. Mm-hmm. And then he misses his last 2 threes, and if we could see it, I don't know, maybe should I subject our loyal viewers to it? Then he goes Fred Brown in the 82 national championship game, Georgetown versus Carolina, who threw it just straight to James Worthy. And Jimmy gets it deep in the lane and gets stuck and just loses his balance and his mind and throws it right to KCP, and the game's basically ended. How can you defend? It's like here. Finally, Jimmy said he actually had the game in his hand. They're just down a point. He drives it deep into the lane. Maybe you can get to the foul line. And he says, no, I'm going to just basically hand the ball to KCP so he can go shoot the 2 free throws that basically ice the game. Eddie, I'm sorry, but Miami lost the game because, once again, my man Gabe Vincent, my man Strus, and my man Caleb Martin, how much did we love him against Boston? They combined to go 1 of 14 from 3. I have never seen so many shots from one team miss the entire rim. The Heat had to set the all-time finals records for shots missing rim. They hit the backboard sometimes. They almost broke the backboard with some of those threes, right? But didn't you find it unwatchable? Because I was just happy in the end. I was relieved that Denver put them out of their misery.
Eddie, before you go,
okay.
Eddie, before you go, What did you tell me? Where did Miami finish as far as scoring in the NBA?
Last.
Okay, the last 3 games, they failed to reach 100 points.
I know, but for the first 20 playoff games they played, and Eddie can attest because his Celtics got shot in the heart.
Yes.
They shot 39% from 3 for 20 straight games. That's a pretty big sample size.
But they're playing so far above their head.
Okay.
If they ever go back to Skip, think about it. The original play-in, they lost to the Hawks by double digits. They were 3 minutes away from. They were down like 6 or 7 to the Bulls. They were 3 minutes away from not even making the play.
We had a bet on it.
Yes.
I'm watching the game with I said I'm going to lose this.
Yes.
They're down 3 with 3 minutes left.
Skip, you didn't have one guy from the Heat that shot 50% from the floor. Not one guy.
Well, yeah, you know why though? That's part of why we got to give Denver the credit.
Yes.
Their defense, that clip that you showed, Skip, right there, I said it. Miami likes to play off 2 feet, all of them. Get into the lane, they'll pump fake, they'll pivot, they try to relocate. And that particular clip personified exactly what you're supposed to do defensively, and that's everybody stayed home. Jimmy had nowhere to pass it, and right to Caldwell Pope because everybody was disciplined and locked in. The teams you talk about, the Atlanta Hawks, not a disciplined defensive team.
No.
The Chicago Bulls, not a disciplined defensive team. Milwaukee, they're a very good defensive team, but they just weren't the same, right? Miami was hot coming into that. And then when they played Boston, the thing with Boston was undisciplined. They weren't disciplined.
Yes.
So when you look at it, it's nothing that you could do except say, hey, man, the Denver Nuggets wore Miami Heat down because every second half they won. Look at this second half. They won by 12 points. And it looks like Miami shoots worse and worse as the game goes on.
Right.
And it seems like Denver hits their stride and gets better and better offensively and get better defensively. I mean, I'm a three-point shooter. I love the three. But this was a perfect game to show you that you don't have to make threes to win basketball games. You have to be disciplined on the defensive end, and you have to execute your game plan and make the extra pass. I think Denver had one play. I think it might have been Michael Porter Jr.'s only 3 in the corner.
Yeah.
That ball touched the paint, went to the corner, went to the wing, got swung to the opposite wing, and it hit Michael Porter for the 3. That personifies ball movement, staying disciplined to your game plan. And that's what I'm saying. I think that the Nuggets, they're well coached. If they could keep this team together, they're going to make some runs. They're going to make a lot of runs. You know, the only team that I would say that you might have to worry about is Golden State coming back next year with vengeance.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Eddie, young Gabe Vincent actually reminds me a little bit of Eddie House when you played because he's got that kind of little man swagger to him, you know, unheralded, I'm going to show you kind of swagger. But the stage got too big for him and Strus and Caleb in the end.
That's what we different, though. The stage ain't ever too big for me.
Not for you. And I agree. I was going to make that point. That's exactly what happened because I remember you in big playoff games making big shots and having grand celebrations that we shouldn't probably talk about. Yeah. So the point is that I'm looking at these numbers from Vincent and Strus in the last 3 games. They combined to shoot 12 of 52 from the floor. That's 23%. That's horrendously bad. They're in your starting lineup.
Yes.
From 3 over the last 3 games. They shot 3 of 27. That's 11%. It's just not good enough. It was miraculous that they were up a point with 1:58 left in the game last night with a golden opportunity to take it back home.
Right.
Could they summons it up, as you say, and figure out how to win a home game and get it back to Game 7? I guess I wouldn't have been shocked by it because they've been doing that the whole playoffs.
Eddie, but what I was trying to explain to Skip, if you take away that 13-point salvo that Jimmy Butler had over the last 2 minutes, they had 5 points with 2.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They had 5. It took Jimmy Butler going Reggie Miller against the Knicks or T-Mac when he went off what he did, 11 points in like 18 seconds, in order for them to get to 18. 18 points in a quarter of an NBA Finals game. I think we don't look at the Denver Nuggets as one of these great defensive teams, but they did a great job of running them off the 3, and they missed the 3s that they had were open, but they contested a lot of shots. They made them, the ball always ended up into the guy's hands that they wanted taking that shot. Jimmy Butler, a lot of time. Now, he hit 2 big threes, but that's not his shot. No. They did a great job of closing out the Duncan Robinson, Eddie, but not leaving their feet, letting him reset and letting the three grow. They closed out to him, stayed on their feet. Now he has to dribble the ball, give the ball up because he's really not a creator for himself. I want to give the Nuggets a lot more credit than blaming the Heat for losing, because the Heat reverted back to who they were all year long. They've been a team 25th in offensive efficiency. They were 20 dead last in scoring. And guess what happened again? Right on cue. They got crushed on the glass again.
They did. They got crushed. Okay, I'm not making an excuse for them, but in game one of these playoffs at Milwaukee, they lost Tyler Hero. All he did was average 20 points a game during the regular season. And once upon a time, he won Sixth Man of the Year. He can light it up as he yells, "I'm a bucket," right? So he was supposed to be back. He dressed last night, but he's got a pin in his shooting hand because he had surgery on it about 6 weeks ago. And I'm sure it's still sore. But I was hoping Spo would at least push that button one time, because somebody's got to find a hot end. Maybe he could have made a shot or two.
See, I saved Eddie from himself. You talk about Tyler Hero. You can have Tyler Hero, Guitar Hero, Hogan's Hero. I told you Nuggets in 5.
Nuggets in 5? Well, I told you Miami sucks because they just suck. I've never seen such sucking over the last 3 games.
Look, Skip, but you got me 3 times. You got me against the Knicks. You got me against Milwaukee. You got me against the Celtics.
Yeah, I got you against the Celtics in Game 7 in Eddie's house.
I really think, though, looking at the games, as the series progressed, Miami got more and more tired. You know, the one thing I can say about Miami, most of the time they're the most disciplined team on both ends of the floor. They were real loose yesterday.
They were loose.
At this series. They were real loose in this series as far as their offensive spacing. Even on top of their spacing, let's just talk about defense, because that's really where they hang their hat. They missed a lot of assignments. They were a step slow on everything, the closeouts. And conversely, when you look at what Denver was doing, to speak to your point, Shannon, they were super disciplined. They stayed down on Duncan Robinson, didn't go for any pump fakes. They stayed down on Jimmy Butler when he got in the lane. Guys stayed with their man on the perimeter so they couldn't relocate and get lost. I just thought Denver, this was a clinic of disciplined basketball.
To the Nuggets, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Shannon, who wins tonight?
I'm going to go with the Nuggets. I just think, Skip, they're a better team, and eventually the better team in a series will normally win the series. I love Jamal Murray's aggressiveness. He was aggressive in Game 3 like he was in Game 1. Got up to that great start because he had been struggling the last 6 quarters. He had really struggled shooting the basketball. And I think the thing is that, he wasn't aggressive enough. He opened the game like, I'm get to my spot. I'm going to drive this basketball. And, hey, I know I got my sidekick. He's not really a sidekick, but they're both sidekicks. I got Yoke. And so those two got going. And then they got Christian Brown to tag along. And that's all they need, Skip. They just need another guy that's going to give them about 15, 16 points. Because they're going to do their thing. They got no answer. They don't really have anybody that can stay in front of Jamal Murray. They don't have anybody. Bam is just too small to deal with Yoke one-on-one. So you got to send help. Now you send help, Yoke's going to fight it because, like you said, he's 7 foot tall. So he can see over everybody. Bam, 6'9". So it's not like, Bam, he can't see over Bam.
And by the way, Kevin Love in the starting lineup against Joker, it was a mismatch. I thought maybe he could bang with him, but he can't. No. He just can't.
He don't have the legs anymore. No. He doesn't have the legs anymore. And so that's what you need. You get if Yoke and Murray do what they do, all they need is about 30 points from 2 other guys. Because those two's gonna give you somewhere high 50s to somewhere in the middle of the 60s between the 2 of them. You look at what they're averaging as a group. You look at what they got averaging as a rebounding tandem and an assist tandem, Skip. I don't know if we've seen that in a finals between a player. You got to go back to, I guess, Magic and Kareem. That was the 80s finals. Kareem was averaged 33 and 14, and you know what Magic did.
All right.
But I'm taking them because I love what I'm seeing, and I think Mike Malone is like, look, we did what we needed to do, but that's not what we set out to do. We said when we lost that game that we're going to Miami and we're going to get 2 because we're down there. Skip is like, you know what? Hey, you on vacation? Like, well, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be back down here again. Let me go ahead and get another one just in case I don't get back down here soon. Well, I'm going to go on and get these 2 games because I don't plan on coming back down to Miami.
I'm sure
unless it's on my own dime.
On a little vacation.
Yeah.
A celebration vacation. Okay, I hear everything you just said. I'm sticking with the Heat to win Game 4 because they have to win Game 4.
Oh, they got to. Yeah, it's absolute must.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have great conviction about picking the Heat tonight. Not great conviction. If you ask me scale of 1 to 10, what's my confidence level in my pick? I'm at a 5.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, man.
But I'm going to tell you why I believe my glass is half full. I look back at the destruction that happened in Game 3, and I still say there's some silver linings because this got lost in the overall outcome in which most people, it felt like, leaped to the conclusion this series is over and the Heat are done.
Okay.
I'm going to drive home the point. The Heat actually started the game very well. The Heat early on were making shots. The Heat, through the first 2 quarters, all the way down to the 3-minute mark of the second quarter, kept threatening and threatening and trying to pull away and actually take command of the game and the series. They tried and tried. They made a bunch of shots, even though overall you look at they shot 37% for the game, 31% from 3. They still kept saying, okay, well, here, and you know who saved them. It wasn't Joker, it was Jamal. He was extraordinary in the first 2 quarters. And I have counted up, I listed him for you yesterday. He made 8 shots in the first 2 quarters, plus 1 free throw that actually tied the game. So it's 8 shots plus a free throw that kept them afloat. Kept them from being pushed right over the cliff. He just kept saying, no, 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 no. 8, it's a lot of shots. And they're sensational shots because he is a sensational shot creator and maker.
This, Skip, they didn't dilly-dally around. Of the 16 shots the Nuggets took, Yoke and Murray took 13 of the first 16. So that lets me know that was their mindset.
Their mindset was
we going. Hey, Michael Porter Jr., we're not trying to get you going. Hey, Aaron Gordon, we're not trying to get you going. We're going to get ourselves going, and then you guys tag along. And that's it. But Gordon had a solid game. He had 11 points. 11 points. He had 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He had a solid all-around game. But it was Christian Brown. Because the thing is, Skip, that Michael Porter Jr., he's 6'10", but he's not physical. He's a finesse player. He would much rather hover around the three-point line.
I agree.
But if you look at Christian Brown, when he came in, he's diving to the basket. And guess every time they find him, dunk, layup, and 1.
Fearless.
So Michael Porter Jr., when you're sitting on the bench, look at what the guys that's in there, look at how they're playing when they come with the double team, go to the basket. Stop just hanging around. You can do other things other than shoot threes. You're 6'10".
All right. I got you. I hear you. Chris Haynes had a great report that I read early this morning, Bleacher Report, that they had a closed-door meeting with just the players right after the Game 2 loss in Denver. And a lot of the veterans, Jeff Green, KCP, spoke up and out and said, this is unacceptable. We have to be more focused with more energy to start the game. And Joker finally spoke up because he doesn't speak up very often. And nobody wanted to say, he wouldn't say what he said, but he probably laid it on the line, not again. So he and Jamal came out. You could just see they had a look in their eye right from jump.
I've never seen him as this aggressive this early. He was Skip. He was turning and he wasn't looking to pass because a lot of times he'll hold the ball, Skip. He's looking around. Okay, is the double team coming? He was turning, facing up. Okay. I'm finna go to work.
But despite all that, with 3 minutes left, Miami was up 1 point. I'm sorry, 3 minutes to the second quarter, up 1 point. And then Jamal hits a 3, and they're off to the races. They never look back. And the third quarter was just absolute destruction.
That's their quarter, Skip. That's their quarter.
That's what they do. They own it. They romp and stomp on your head and your psyche in the third quarter. It was 17 rebounds to 3 rebounds. And obviously for the game, it was 58 rebounds to 33. No rebounds, no rings. No rebounds, no hope.
Remember Game 4 for the Lakers? They up 15 at the half, and the Nuggets erased that in a matter of moments and took the game.
Gone like that. I didn't even know what happened. It's just like, oh, wait.
Exactly.
It's over. All right, silver lining again off Game 3. I'm going to say this again. Down to the wire, all of a sudden, there was a play where, remember, Jamal turned it over 5 times in the fourth quarter, and it actually allowed the Heat to have a little bit of life, and they're at home, and I know a lot of the crowds they arrive late, they leave early. Okay, so they're leaving early. But remember the play where Jamal throws the elbow and got called for the offensive foul, but they went to review it as a flagrant. Well, just help me out here. If it gets called a flagrant, it's 2 free throws plus the ball. If you make, I'm having to again, go with that they make the 2 free
Right.
throws. If they make the 2 free throws, it cuts it to 7 with 1:16 left, and they have the ball. Duncan Robinson then made a 3. I'm just doing the what if. What if immediately he makes a 3 and it cuts it to 4 with, let's say, a minute left?
Yeah.
Okay, do they have a chance?
Yeah, of
sure, they
course.
have a chance.
Yes.
Okay, my point is, it wasn't an annihilation. It wasn't a blowout, and maybe Miami takes a little bit of hope and momentum off the fourth quarter.
Well, I heard the audio, and I hear Jeff Green said, hey, finish it. Finish the game. Finish it strong. Because they had started to get careless because they saw Miami take their starters out, and so now all of a sudden they had to relax. Well, Miami is still playing with the same intensity, like we got a chance. And the Nuggets took their foot off the gas, and it made the game a lot closer. I didn't feel as threatened by what transpired as maybe you thought.
Okay, but it didn't even make sense, because I understand you weren't threatened at all, but it was one of those wait a second moments where, wait.
Did he take the starter? Take his running back?
Okay, well, it was the backups. They were doing this. Right. When you put the starters back in at 1 minute left, it was a 4-point game. Okay. That's all we got. So Kevin Love has been in the starting lineup. You have to make a change in the starting lineup. Really?
Dẫu mà trời còn là mưa lâu dài, giọt buồn giọt tuổi đêm ngày, cây cột mẹ ruồi mãi lá nghèo cũng đừng dột xiêu. Dẫu mà cơn nắng bấy lâu mà dây bầu, mây còn không héo mới mưa dầm, mây lại héo
I hoped, but no. Caleb Martin can shoot mid-range jumpers. He can get going, and he had a burst in the second quarter, and then they didn't go back to him at all. I want to see him early get going. I want to see, obviously, Gabe Vincent avoid 3 quick fouls and stay in the game, because he scored 29 points in Game 3
ai mang hết
against Boston. He is
kỷ
only
niệm
capable of
ngày
three
còn thương, ai như áng mây buồn vội vang buông ý câu thề, ai nhung nhớ ta một vùng trời ngồi ngóng đợi. Ngày còn thương em ơi ném bên ta, chiều hoàng hôn hai đứa ngước cao ước nguyện rằng một mai